Hello YouTube, it's Atticus, and welcome back my friends. We do have some Dark Elves, we have some Druki. It's been too long, and we're going to be fighting some Empire today. So yeah, I definitely wanted to show you guys why the Dark Elves are still number one, they're still superior. We're going to be trying to fight against some of the new DLC units of the Empire, so things like War Wagons and Archers and things like that. So yeah, we're going to see how the Druki, we're going to show a build that I think is pretty good against a very heavy ranged Empire build. So for my lord, we are taking the Dreadlord Sword and Crossbow. He's really cheap. He's going to have the armor-piercing missiles, and he's going to be a point-and-forget kind of character. So I'll send him in, tell him to attack something, then I can spend my micro on other things. So I like going to Dreadlord. You know, he's obviously dirt cheap, so I think he's a really competitive, good, generic lord. For my casting, guys, we are bringing a Sorceress of Dark Magic, and I know a lot of people don't like Dark Magic, but I swear by it. I think it's really competitive, and you can see from my spells, I've brought in Word of Pain and Blade Wind. So Blade Wind to deal with the grouped up state troops, and Word of Pain to win cav engagements and things like that. For my infantry contingent, guys, we're taking 4 units of Bleak Swords here in the front, and that is just because if you think about it, all the Empire units, the new Empire DLC units, are ranged. So yeah, having something that has a silver shield chance and that could deal with these guys is gonna be really good for me. So they'll be in the front, leading the force, taking all the shots with their silver shields, and that'll allow my other units to get in there and do the damage. And you can see we have the most elite of the elite, the baddest of the baddest, the Blades of the Blood Queen. It's pretty common for Empire players to bring great swords in this matchup. So yeah, bring the Blades of the Blood Queen. These guys are worth 2 of great swords in my opinion. Also, we do have 2 units of dark shards of shields. Yeah, just kind of an off-meta pick. A lot of people never expect these guys, and they can give me a lot of good value against great swords, Tattersouls, Flagellants, Empire Knights, and things like that. And then the Hellerbrony bringing up the rear just to support, kind of keep my archers safe and fill out any holes. We do have a Cold One Chariot, which did get a price increase in the last patch, which sucks. It's 1100 now, which I think is not fair. It's a good unit, but it's not 1100 good. But yeah, we're going to be trying to get some value out of it. We're going to be charging, we're going to be using its range units or attacks for the Empire Knights and things like that, and then obviously we'll go in and charge when we get openings. But the real cool part of the army is all the Vanguard that I have. And here in the woods, you can see I have a very scary Vanguard force, 2 units of Dark Riders with shields, and I have the Slaneshi Harvesters, the Doomfire Warlock. So they're going to have Word of Pain and Soul Stealer as well. And this is, that's a very scary Vanguard force right here in the back, especially if my opponent doesn't suspect it. And they're all hidden right here, so hopefully we'll be able to get into the goodie box. And I have 2 other Dark Riders, one on that flank and one on this flank. And the idea was, what I'm hoping that will happen is that I'm going to be able to lure my enemy away. So he'll see these Dark Riders, I'll kind of come over here and try to, tease him, and he'll send all his forces to overcompensate, which will leave an opening for me to come in with my real attack squad. So yeah, it's kind of a bait and switch, and we'll see how it works for me. So that is my build, guys. For the Empire, we have the mighty Caro France on foot, which I think is really cool. You don't really see him on foot a lot, but yeah, I love foot lords. I think they're really fun. So he's going to be really hard to snipe, and he's going to be really good buffing up his troops with all his abilities. So it looks like he did not bring the Reichland Runefang or Galmaraz, though, so he's just going cheap as well. He wanted something that had armor piercing and really powerful, so I could dig it. For his infantry, though, guys, he's going kind of cheap. He's going lots of numbers, but cheap units. He has a front line of spearmen, and these are not the shielded variant, so yeah, very good against Hydras and things like that, but against Bleak Swords and stuff, we're definitely going to have an edge. But he makes up for that damage with all these range units, so he has several different archer units. We have the White Wolves, which are the Huntsmen, Regiment of Renown. We have the Silver Bullets. We have the Sterling's Revenge, 2 units of really good armor piercing. Then he has 2 great swords in the back. So yeah, really powerful. We have a Hellblaster volley gun, and he has a War Wagon. So a lot of range firepower. So I have to be really careful not to take too much damage on my important units on the approach. And then last but not least, he has 2 units of Empire Knights who are going to be trying to protect all those range units. So let's go ahead and start it, guys, and see how this goes. So right off the bat, as these Dark Riders are going to say these Empire Knights, as I lure them away, you can see, yeah, he's doing exactly what I was hoping. He's sending his Empire Knights right here to kind of chase this Dark Rider, which is leaving his whole back pretty much exposed. So when I feel the moment's right, I'm going to send my little attack squad in. I was hoping he's not paying attention, so yeah, we're going to start coming around the back right here and hopefully be able to shut down this artillery piece, because this thing will do a lot of damage. You can shut down my Blades of the Blood Queen, and I'm going to need them to be able to deal with the 2 units of great swords. You can see he's definitely overcompensating. He's sending all these range units after 1 unit of Dark Riders. You know, he got kind of greedy. He's like, oh, I can get a free pick right here. Well, that's fine, because I'm going to get a free pick of your back line here in a second. We are doing the run command on my forces. I wanted to take advantage of these guys getting ready to attack in the back. You can see he did have the skirmish thing on, though, so it's all his troops are running forward. So this is working really good for me, because they're going to be running forward right into the, these guys right here. Boom, my forces kind of get hit. You can see that I'm going to send one right into here just to kind of, force all these troops into the front. And my other 2 units right here, the Doomfire Warlocks, are going to get kind of caught up by these great swords, but I will start to click and try to get into this artillery piece right here. You can see I'm going to send the Chariot in for a really good charge. Boom, right into all those archer units. And yeah, that is glorious. That is juicy. And you can see we've totally just disrupted his missile line. His Hellblaster volley gun is totally exposed, even though he is trying to send his Empire Knights back. But now he's starting to realize that the trap has been sprung. And we're going to be able to get into that artillery piece. And that's going to be a really good pick for me now. Front lines are starting to collide here, guys. You can see bleak swords are hitting state troops. We got a sword wind, blade wind getting ready to be cast, and that's going to just shred these units. 95, 92, 87, 85. We absolutely just decimate that big glob of state troops. And you can see that we're having routing all across the map right here, guys. Over here, you can see that I am sending some Dark Riders to try to shut down these War Dragons. Now, these are not the Hellblaster volley gun. These are just the ranged ones. But yeah, they can still do a little bit of damage. And I have troops to spare. I have 4 Dark Riders. So we're going to be able to screen him out. You can see the Sinestri Harvesters. Now that they've dealt with the artillery piece, we're going to send them into this glob of troops right here, these archers and these great swords. And keep in mind, I am going to use a Soul Stealer right here, which is going to heal them up. You can see I do cast it in the big glob, and I will get a Word of Pain onto these Empire Knights here pretty quickly. So we do get into the glob, we're keeping things from shooting, and Word of Pain onto these Empire Knights, which will keep them from really doing any damage. Here in the back line, guys, you can see that my Dark Shards are doing a good job of just focus firing. We're breaking units all across the map. Over here, we're hitting him in the back, so his Spearmen, pretty much the whole right flank right here, we are winning. You can see that Karl France is coming in to assist. Hellebrone are holding up the middle. But yeah, all his range units, all that range firepower, we're just doing a really good job of shutting down. We have them pretty much just having to run, be on the defensive the whole time. And you can see these archers and all these units, they're not getting all the value. Now, if he could have protected that back line and started to shoot, yeah, I mean, that was obviously the build he was trying to go for. The Sinestri Harvesters are getting really beat up, even though we have shut down his artillery units and all these 2 archer units. So at this point, I'm just seeing them as kind of expendable. I feel like I have a really good lead. Opponent does get a really good charge in with these Empire Knights, but I am going to use these Cold One Chariots in, and they do have armor piercing, so they'll be able to assist these bleak swords and keep my opponent from able to charge ahead. You can see Karl France is in the mix right here. He's on foot, smacking down the Hellebrone, but boom, I'm going to get another really powerful blade wind right into this big glob of troops right here, to these archers, these Empire Knights, and yeah, that's just why I love dark magic so much. You can see that my Dreadlord's over here behind this wall, sniping with his 500-something weapon strength. Same with these Dark Shards, guys. We're shooting into these Empire Knights, we're holding things in place, and these Great Swords, and he still does have a really powerful unit of Great Swords, so I don't want to get too overconfident. Over here, the Blades of the Blood Queen are going to be dueling Karl France, and yeah, that's definitely not where he wants to be by himself. He's going to, kind of get exposed, and those Blades of the Blood Queen will add up. Their damage is pretty significant. You can see I'm going to get a charge into these White Wolves right here, and to the Sterling's Revenge. We're just trying to keep these units away from my army, and yeah, I mean, that's how you fight the Empire. You have to keep their range units from firing. Just keep, harassing them, and yeah, I mean, it just pretty much makes them worthless. The whole game he's going to be running, which is going to allow me just to kill, his cheaper units at my leisure. So yeah, guys, now it's just coming down to these last little individual fights. You can see I do have Dark Shard still providing overwatch. We're melting these great swords really quickly, and yeah, with the support of the Hellebrone, they're going to be poisoning these guys, and things are looking really good for us. You can see we're cleaning up state troops all across the map right here. I'm going to get a Word of Pain on the Karl France, which is going to lower his melee attack to, 21. So, yeah, he's not going to be hitting that hard. And you can see the Dreadlord is going to come in, point blank, shooting those armor-piercing missiles onto my opponent, and yeah, guys. So now that I've dealt with the archery units over here, I do see my opponent has a spear unit, so I'm going to take advantage of them not being braced, and boom, right into the faces of those spearmen, and then I'm going to push through and do the same thing right into these Empire Knights. Over here into the back, guys, you can see I do see a unit of archers, so I'm like, alright, I have enough magic for one more blade wind. I'm going to use these bleak swords here, and we are going to cast it here pretty shortly. I think it's at this moment that I do cast it. You can see I'm using the Supreme Sorceress, excuse me, just the Sorceress to chase away. He's on that cold one, so she's going to be doing a lot of damage as well. Now, my opponent is getting some Overwatch, but these archers don't do enough damage, you know what I mean? They're very cheap, 300-something gold. And yeah, here's the blade wind I was talking about. So I'm going to use these bleak swords to try to screen. It forces my opponent to pull forward. Then the bleak swords chase him away, and then he runs them right into these archers. 77, 71, 69, boom, kills, and that is a win for the Druki, guys. So that is a textbook, how to beat the Empire, how to beat their new units. I hope that kind of really helps and shows you a really cool build. So, good game to Rob Friendo. Some of the keys for my success was all the backline pressure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units that were dedicated to that back line. Also pressure or luring away his Empire Knights. I used a sacrificial Dark Rider. My opponent, jumped on it thinking, all right, it's a free pick, and it left his whole back line exposed, and we were able to get the Celestial Harvesters, Dark Riders. We were able to shut down his artillery piece. We were able to move his archers out of position, and that's kind of what you do as the Dark Elves, guys. It's always been the case against Empire, but now since they have all these new DLC units, which are just giving them more range, superiority, yeah, you just got to keep pressuring. Take advantage of all the really cool Vanguard options you have as a Dark Elves. Supreme Sorceress got 125 kills as a Dark Magic. So whoever told me that Dark Magic is not good, well, explain that. Of course, the Dreadlord Sword and Crossbow did good, 50 kills. I mean, he's not supposed to be a monster or anything. He's just supposed to be something in the back who's just wearing down my opponent. Carl France got 56, so yeah, being on foot, it is a little bit, a strange pick. If you are going to bring him on foot, I would recommend bringing the Galmaraz. You could beef up your great swords and things like that. And yeah, Blades of the Blood Queen are obviously always a good pick. I mean, they did their job. So now, if my opponent would have not taken his Empire Knights and chased away, I think he could have made a pretty good defense. He could have had all these range units, peppering my troops. All we had was Bleak Sword, so once they got beat up, you know what I mean? I think this build could have worked for him if he would have been a little bit more patient, protected his Hellblaster volley gun, and used the War Rag and stuff like that. So, I mean, this is definitely a good build, but the execution is what kind of, was lacking. So, alright guys, it's Atticus. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good night now. Bye-bye.